Hi, and welcome to the Lone Star Play podcast, where we sit, eat, chat, and repeat. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong, and we are coming to you from Austin, Texas. The Lone Star Play podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com, and you can search your city for local restaurants, stores, butchers, farmers markets, and more who are using organic, fresh, artisanal, and local sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. All right, and thank you for joining me for another great episode of the Lone Star Plate podcast. All right, I have an incredible guest today. His name is Kevin Russell. He is a Texas music legend. Yes, I'll say that. He's from Beaumont, Texas. That's where he started. I read that he picked up his father's guitar from underneath the bed and just started playing. He was about 14 years old. And, his music journey began. And you might know Kevin Russell from a couple of bands, probably more, but we'll get into that with him. Most famously from the Gourds. And they were most famous for covering a song that we all knew back in the early 2000s, Gin and Juice. So they covered Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice, and it just took off. So I believe they made a music video, too. They're like on a golf course. I think so. I think that's what I remember, but I could be wrong. But so remember that song. But the Gourds, they're massive. They got a great following, and they sort of broke up, or they're on hiatus. They might get back together. But he also has this other gig, which that's what he's doing now. It's called Shinyribs, and he's had this since I think about 2007-ish, somewhere in there. And yeah, that's his full gig now, doing Shinyribs. They play everywhere, right? They're all over the place. Austin city limits, you name it, they've played it. So they play all over the state. They travel around, right? So, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're probably a fan of Kevin Russell, or maybe not. This is your first time hearing of him. So he's a great guy, really proud Texas musician, and we're really happy to have him on. We're going to talk to him about, food, music, what's going on right now with music. He also did this cool thing recently where he set up this sort of drive-through concert, right? Like a driving concert. That's what I meant to say. Not drive-through. You just drive through, hear a couple beats, and then you're gone. No, it's you drive in. So you drive in, you park just like you'd see a movie, and then you turn the radio station right to the right, whatever, 89.3, I think is what he was using, but whatever it is. And you can listen to the concert. It's a great idea. And he just did a one just recently, and just going to talk to him about that and if he plans on doing that more. It was this really great idea. So yeah, really excited to have Kevin Russell on, and let's just get this started already, right? Enough of me blabbing. All right, enjoy the episode. Really excited to talk some music, some food, Texas,
yeah, man,
and something cool that you just did. I kind of did a mini intro and I sort of explained it, but I'd really like you to sort of go in further and sort of explain the origin of it, and then where it's going. And basically, it's that thing you did with the drive-in concert.
Right. Yeah.
I loved it. Loved that idea.
Yeah, these guys, the ATX drive-in concerts is their little group. Couple of guys, couple of friends of mine, younger dudes. He Ben, who thought of it, I asked him, I was like, what gave you the idea to have an FM broadcast drive-in theater style show? And he said, the global pandemic gave me the idea, dude. I was like, all right, don't be a smart ass. When did the light go on? After the pandemic began. So he said he was just thinking, he heard about a drive-in theater show somebody was doing, and then he thought to himself, he's like, he knew that there were cheap FM broadcasters, pirate radio things that you could get. So the light went on his head, and he called his friend Mark, who's a sound engineer. He was an old sound engineer for the Gourds, actually, Mark was.
Oh, wow.
So Mark has helped him. They partnered, and Mark put his sound knowledge with live sound and getting sound into interfaces and things like that. And they wired it up, and they found a local landowner who had the courage to allow that to happen on their land. There's insurance concerns and all that.
Sure.
For that, but it's kind of a Wild West deal. They're just out there in a field, and they you go directly to an email that they provide, and you purchase a ticket ahead of time. It's $50 a car usually. I mean, the price varies depending on who it is, but then they go for like 30 to 50 cars maybe, and you can put as many people in that car as you want.
That's how you did it, right? Yeah, somebody in the trunk, like, I'm not riding in the trunk.
Yeah, and man, it was, and so it's just such a cool thing. Like, so they, it's about a mile radius broadcast, so you can pick it up in that neighborhood around there. But it's cool to like hear the music coming in over the car stereo. Everybody has their stereos on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a cool thing, and you're walking through, all the people, and you hear the music and all the different cars, and it's synced up. It's such a cool thing, and so everybody's just hanging out on their cars, on their hoods, and their truck beds or whatever. They have blankets, they have picnics, and they have their own drinks. And
where are you playing?
Well, I was on top of a Suburban, which was
I love it, Mad Max style.
It was total Mad Max. Yeah, he's like, you got to be up really high because people are in their cars, and if they're going to see over the car in front of them, you got to be up high.
That makes sense.
So I was like, all right. And it was precarious up there. He said most people sit down, and I was like, well, I can't sit down when I play.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm playing, a quiet song, and I'm not going to play all quiet songs at this. So I was like, I got to stand up, but it was sketchy, especially when it got dark because their lighting was on the floor and shining into my eyes. So I couldn't
see the edge, right? Like,
yeah, it was all dark underneath. I was standing on the abyss. So.
Oh God, we could have lost Kevin Russell that night, guys.
That thought went through my head. I was like, all right, I gotta really pay attention to my balance here.
They get you like in a harness, like attached to a tree. It is like.
Yeah, we should go total Mad Max with this.
Total Mad Max, dude. I love it. That's honestly, dude, that's such a great idea, man. And it's such a cool thing. I mean, I bet your fans loved it. How did people do request? Were there people screaming out the car window or like?
There was a little bit of that. There was one person who maybe had been to one before, but they had a little PA on their.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Like, you're doing great. Sounds great. Luckily, they didn't heckle me.
Totally, they could have been the heckler. That would have been. Oh, that's hilarious, dude. I love that. Oh my! Now everybody's gonna show up with one of those fucking bullhorns and.
I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. I love that, dude. That's so Dukes of Hazzard. I love it.
Total Dukes of Hazzard. And,
Are you planning on doing more of these? What are you thinking?
Well, I'd like to do another one, but you can't. I'll have to do it through them. They said that most of these FM broadcasters have been snatched up, mostly by churches. This is what churches are doing. They're having their congregations in their parking lots, and they're broadcasting to their congregations, which is a obvious idea, but
sure.
I think they had some like special knowledge before the rest of us. I don't know where they got it. I'm investigating.
From above. They got the inside word. Right. They like all of a sudden the back of the Bible ripped open. There was this new page that nobody had seen. Like, oh shit, this has been here the whole time. I love it. That's great. Yeah, I really the pictures that came out of the were amazing. Like people were really into it. Yeah. Very supportive. Yeah, super cool, man.
It was really great. Everybody loved it just because, it's been 3 months really since most people.
Totally. That's probably people's first live, right, little concert or whatever in months.
Yeah, in months. And there's something, and really what I can't remember the last time I haven't been at live music on a regular basis. Not for this long, maybe a kid, and I wasn't aware of it.
That's crazy. Yeah. When was the last live show you played before that one?
The last live show I played was the big one was Paramount Theater in Austin. That was
a
sold out show, and it was a great show. I'm glad we got that one off. That was right at the end of February before really we were alerted to this. But and then I did a little private party with my singers, my Shiny Soul Sisters. The three of us drove over to east of Houston for it was a charity event. Often for charities, I auction off a solo show or a trio show.
Oh, that's nice,
Somebody
man.
wants to buy it, and it's really tough because they bought it probably a year ago now, a
Yeah.
year ago last May. So it had been a long time trying to figure out a time we could do this, and it was a lot of communication problems between them and the charity and us and blah blah blah. So finally, I was like, "Yeah, let's just go do it," and it was still right. It was like that was about the 8th or 9th of March, so it was right before. I mean, we were aware of it,
Sure.
but we were still kind of making jokes about it.
Yeah. Yeah, like most of us, right? I'm with you.
Exactly. So we went and did this party, and that was the last thing we did. It was probably 100 people there.
How crazy is that? You had no idea, right? Like that would be.
Yeah, there's a big buffet, and we're all like eating all the same. And they were, kind of East Texas type of camo wearing redneck,
Sure.
like rednecks, so they don't have a problem with sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Everything. So, there was a lot of that going on. But luckily, no one was sick. No one got sick. So.
Did you have anything planned at South by?
Oh yeah, we had a whole stuff at South by.
Damn, man, I'm sorry to hear all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what set it in motion for me was when the mayor Adler is our mayor here in Austin. When he made the decision to cancel South by Southwest, that was a sort of a Magic Johnson HIV moment where you were like, "Wow, what? This is unthinkable." So that really got everyone's attention in Austin, anyway. And I think around the country, in the music community, it really was like, "Wow, okay, this is real."
Yeah, that's for me too. I agree. That's what I say was the moment that it was real for me, is that South by got canceled. Because I had the people that help run this podcast and produce it and everything. They actually are from London, and they were all flying in for South by. Right, we're gonna have this cool 2 weeks here and promote and whatever. And I remember they kept asking me, "Patrick, what do you think's happening with it? What do you, you're there in Texas. What do you hear?" I'm said, "Dude, they're never going to cancel South by. Like they've never canceled. Like I just don't see that happening, right? Like I just tell them, no, so keep your flights, whatever." Boy, they totally took back my crystal ball.
Yeah.
It's like
amazing. It was an amazing moment. So, and then it was just like a matter of. It took me still a few days, and we had a bunch of shows the week before South by in Oklahoma, North Texas, just sort of our usual regional stuff. We were going to Tulsa. I think we were supposed to play Tulsa on a Tuesday, and then we had a string of shows that whole week, working our way back down. And then South by would start the following week, and I even had a show on that Sunday right before South by here in Austin, a little private thing. And man, on that Sunday before, I was like freaking out because South by was canceled, and so I was reading more and paying more attention, and I started getting more and more worked up. And I felt like I was panicking a little bit, like I was getting a little bit hysterical about it. And so, I talked to my wife. I talked to a lot of other musicians. I was like, "What are y'all thinking? Are y'all canceling shows?" Because I was like, I don't really want to do these shows because there's one case in Tulsa right now, and if there's one case, there could be 1,000. I don't know, So I don't want to go into a crowded venue, and I'm a hands-on performer too. I literally grab my audience and dance with them and hug them, and I'm a very physical person, and not in a creepy way, but no. And a lot of my audience and myself are older. I have older guys in my band. There's older fans that come to my shows, so that was a concern. And but I talked myself down, and I was like, all right, let's just, show must go on. That's another thing about music artists, is that just the show must go on. You have that mentality. You have to have that mentality because you get thrown so many obstacles in your life, your musical life. When it comes to live music, there's so many things can go wrong, and you have to just adapt, and so the show must go on. But then then my trumpet player Tiger Anaya called me the morning we were supposed to leave for Tulsa, and he was like, "Man, he's like, I don't like the whole idea of this,
Yeah.
And really, I just needed one other person to make me know I wasn't the crazy one, because there was anyone I called. I'm not going to name names, but I called a lot of famous people that I'm friends with, and none of them until that Tuesday. Well, it was the next day, the Wednesday. Robert Earl Keen canceled a bunch of West Coast shows, so that helped me, But I still had to make that decision, just like Mayor Adler. We all had to make decisions in our life that I think took a lot of courage, because it was such an unknown moment.
Do you think this has been the toughest thing you've had to go through since being in the music industry?
I don't think so. I mean, for me, I was prepared for it, because I'm DIY. I do it all myself, and at this point, I understand how to budget all my money, and I had surplus of money for a rainy day. I had, everything I do, I pay out of pocket. It's all me, so I'm not getting money from a sponsor or a label or anything. So I was prepared, and I think we'll weather the storm. But I know a lot of musicians who were not prepared. They couldn't prepare for whatever.
Sure.
They're not in the same position I am, and so I'm lucky that way. But it will be, maybe when it's all so far. I felt like I've weathered it pretty well, and but I can't think of anything worse. Though for my personal experience, it hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
For me, I just don't feel like I can complain about it, but I know a lot of musicians who are struggling, and a lot of businesses, friends who have restaurants or whatever business that are all struggling mightily. So I'm learning more about them, and local charities who are running out of money because they're giving their money to people that are struggling.
Yeah, that's right.
Eventually, the ripple effects of this I think could be very detrimental to what I do. So I definitely see that possible future, and I'm not sure how to address it. But again, like what we do, same thing, that mentality, the show must go on. We will adapt. I will adapt, because I'm going to do what I do regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I wasn't making 1 red cent on it, I would still be doing what I'm doing.
That's why people love you, though.
Yeah. So I know that I'm going to do it no matter what.
Do you have any shows booked or anything? Do you have any, like, a calendar up, or?
Yeah, I mean, the way we've been doing it is like the shows are like month to month now, and so June's pretty cleared, and that was cleared a while ago. But July shows are still in question, a lot of them. So we're talking about it. I mean, it's just a gradual thing that my agents, like these booking agents, are working their ass off for nothing, basically, because they're not getting the shows aren't being played. They're not getting paid. That's their commission. So, my agent told me that he was fine. I said, man, if I can share some of my money with y'all, if you need it, blah blah blah. I don't know.
Yeah. But, wow, that's nice of you.
Well, you want all your people to be taken care of.
Sure.
Because you want them to be around when this is over. So we can all work together again, and we have a good thing. So, yeah, but he said they were fine. I think he was prepared somewhat. He probably had to let some employees go, but so I don't know.
Just month to month, basically, sort of.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So they just stay in constant communication with, and they have to do that across their whole roster for everybody. So they're working their ass off. Most booking agents are.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like I said, for nothing, but they know that in the future there's a lot of money it's going to be made and spent. So because when this is over, I think it's going to be Katie bar the door. it's going to be pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, it's going to change, right? We'll definitely change.
There are a lot of people won't survive through it, literally, and then a lot of artists will perhaps give up, do something else. A lot of venues will be gone. So a lot of people in the music business will maybe not come back to it. It'll be a very different environment. But you know, it could improve in some ways.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I mean, we've been living, you know, on fumes of recorded music for a while. There's just not a lot of money in recorded music, so live music is
It's
everyone's
everything.
now. So
Yeah.
it really hits the live music industry right in the gut, man, at the worst possible time. But so it will transform our industry.
What do you think? What changes would you like to see come out of the music industry?
Jeez, you know, my biggest peeve is probably the streaming world. I have no problem with streaming. I think it's fine. Technology's fine. I use it all the time as a listener and as an artist. But I think, you know, per streams, you know, the money needs to be higher.
Yeah.
And two, the algorithm and the way they group music, that really just bothers me, because like sometimes I'm lumped in with. I granted I'm not an obvious genre, so they don't know where to put me. But often because of the Gourds and my history, I just get put with, you know, next to John Prine or Turnpike Troubadours, or, you know, whoever it may be, which is, you know, fine, but really musically I have little to do with either one
With
of them.
them. Yeah, totally.
I
Yeah.
love both of them, but
Sure.
and I'm friends with a lot of them, you know, so that's why we're associated. I get how it works, but I would like to see that addressed. And we've talked to the people at Spotify and TuneCore, the local people, about that stuff. They're aware of it. It's just a tricky business. I'm not really sure how you make an algorithm that could
Not
serve,
do that. Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah, totally. Gosh, well, that's, you know, well, that's good. I mean, you know, I think obviously that's something that's definitely going to change. I mean, now that Spotify is changing, even, right? They're adding podcasts. Joe Rogan signed that big
yeah.
deal with Spotify. How do you think that's going to change Spotify?
The Rogan thing specifically.
Just it, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, obviously they're going to start expanding podcasts, which they already do podcasts, and you can find our podcasts on there. I mean, it's really easy, but I think they're even going to add video.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, I think that's what the internet really calls for, is a multimedia experience, is what,
Yeah.
there's no reason to compartmentalize technologies, platforms, genres, anything like that. I think, yeah, put it all in one place and let it rip, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does for music creators. I mean, you got to sort of pick your battles as well. Like, I like video. Like, I know very little about video, so that's what I'm trying to learn, is like how to edit video, create video, what, you know, from my own artistic point of view. You know,
Sure. Like what kind of videos? You know, like music videos?
music videos, or
Yeah.
just video. I mean, I feel like sky's the limit. Really, you don't have to do just a. I mean, music video is just a commercial for a song, right? So
Sure.
commercial for a band. So I mean, why not expand on that? You know,
Yeah.
make it commercially not as viable. That's what I'm always thinking.
Why not? I love that. I love that. And that's what your fans love about you, right?
How can I shoot myself in the foot?
Look, that's something. This would be a good segue. And I'm sure this subject. I hope it doesn't upset you or bother you to bring this up. But it's just something I've always been curious about. So I know you were in the Gourd, right? You started the Gourds, right? And you guys had this song, right? Hit song that wasn't, y'all didn't write it, right? Y'all covered the Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice.
Right.
And that just took off like wildfire. Right.
Yeah.
I remember, I didn't know y'all. Like, I knew that song for sure. Like, did y'all have a music video where y'all were on a golf course?
No, that was somebody else made a video for it. And we actually had to tell those guys to like take it down eventually, because
That's horrible. That is fucked up.
I know. Well, I mean, we didn't we should have made a video. I mean, I think there was a need for it, and they saw that.
Yeah, no, but still, they shouldn't have taken y'all's shit like that. That's not cool.
But that was the Wild West, you know, the internet. Really,
It was the beginning, right? Yeah.
Do whatever the fuck you wanted on YouTube, and
that's hilarious.
Or you know, the peer-to-peer stuff too. I mean, it was like.
It was just that was another thing. Like Napster helped that song sort of,
Yeah.
blow up and stuff. But what I'm really curious about, I know people, our listeners, our viewers, who maybe some of your fans, but also there's going to be a lot of people listening and watching this that have,
Sure.
maybe have never heard of you. So I for one, definitely just want to give them the story. And I personally want to know, like, why did y'all think to do that song? You know what I mean? Because it then became something you guys kind of played off of, right? Doing special covers like that.
Oh yeah. Man, I've always been into doing covers. I've always liked that. It's just a fun thing to do, and so I think maybe growing up and starting my early days in Louisiana, I used to play a lot of bars where you had to play all night, so you had to play covers. We played a lot of original music, and covers, people love covers. Sure. It really breaks the ice sometimes in a show, and so I always was into covers, and I liked unusual covers. There was a band in Austin when I first moved here called the Bad Livers, little bluegrass band, and they used to do craziest freaking bluegrass covers, like Lust for Life by Iggy Pop, and they do Misfits and Butthole Surfers but then they did traditional bluegrass too. It was Danny Barnes is the guy, and a guy named Mark Rubin were partners in that. But yeah, so I was inspired by the Bad Livers to sort of take unusual contemporary music and put it into a bluegrass sort of setting. That's what I was going for on that song. Yeah. And I heard that song. My sister played it for me right when it came out. One Christmas I was at home and she played it for me, and I loved the song immediately. That hook.
That hook, right?
It really is juicy.
Yeah.
It's a great hook, and I was like, I can't rap. I'm not gonna, I'm not Beck. I mean,
yeah.
Boys, that's like, they got away with it, but it's not easy to get away with. So I was like, I'm not going to even attempt that. So I got to find a way to sing all of these freaking words, like more words than a Bob Dylan song. They're all crammed together. And like half of them, I don't even know what they're saying. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I had to ask my sister, what is macking? What is macking? Macking? What is that?
I love it.
So I didn't know, I was total in way over my head here, and it took a while, I never could. I just had the lyrics on my dining room table for a couple of months, and I had the chorus, and so eventually one day I was just singing the chorus and just trying a melody, and that's the melody that and that just hit me. I was like, that's it, I got it. This is gonna be awesome. And the first time I played it, I was a friend of mine, the sound guy for the Gourds, a guy named Jim Archuleta, we call him Archie. He was having his birthday party at Waterloo Ice House at 6 in Lamar when it was there. And he got me and Jimmy to play solo sets, so I was like, there's a little friendly competition going on, so I was like, all right, ain't nobody gonna touch this. That was the first time I played it, and it was quite special, and people were like, holy shit, dude. And then we played it. We never rehearsed it. We never worked it up, the Gourds. We just, one night at an encore at Electric Lounge, which was our home club at the time, we had an encore situation. I was like, guys, you remember that song I played at Archie's birthday, Gin and Juice? Y'all remember that? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, just follow me. It's just 2 chords, A and D, just follow me. It'll be great. And it was. And that was the beginning of it right there. We never thought about it or worked it up or anything. It just happened organically. And then it morphed over time. And I think it became popular, it was very popular in Texas already. We'd been playing it for a year or two. And then a little label wanted us to record it. And we were like, okay. But we were a little scared of it, We were like, we saw the potential that, that could be a big hit, and we're going to be stuck for the rest of our lives playing that, known for that, and it's a novelty kind of a thing, So we didn't do a censored version of it. We were steadfast. We're like, no, we're not doing a censored version of it because that will just feed into it.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be played everywhere. We actually don't want that. I know. That's the Gourd mentality. We were like, we're total DIY. We're punk rock guys, and we're like, we're not trying to get super famous. We're like just trying to have a cool life, That's
yeah.
And we had a cool thing, so we didn't really need to mess it up. It still became an albatross, and we still had to play it all the time. hindsight, and then Dynamite Hack, theirs came right after that, and I think they were from Houston. I'm sure they heard us do that and was inspired. I'm sure, because the timing was just perfect, and they released theirs, and it was big. It was really big, and we were like, yeah.
Damn.
I still don't think we should. I'm glad we didn't do it.
Yeah, but is Dynamite Hack still playing?
No.
Exactly.
So it probably was the right thing for them, but they had their little moment. But I was like, I don't want to have a little moment and go away. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, and I got a million covers like that. I do that shit all the time. So
yeah. And now you've built this amazing discography. You know, these amazing songs. You've worked with so many amazing artists, and got to travel and play all this great music, and you have these great fans that support and love you guys, and that's awesome.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm so blessed, and I wouldn't change a thing. I don't think. I mean, if I'm hard about it, I'd probably
maybe one or two, but who's yeah. Always something worth changing. That's what my wife says. Oh man, yeah, dude. So you got the Shinyribs, right? So you kind of had the Gourds and Shinyribs working at the same time, right? They kind of overlapped for a while there.
Yeah. We did it at the same time I did it at the same time for a while. Just I was kind of at the end of my rope with the Gorge thing. It's just some interpersonal stuff, and we'd been together forever, and I felt like we had really done everything we were going to do. Just we were growing creatively, and we were a mature band at that point. And but it was good. It was good living for all the families involved. I didn't want to upset that, but I did want to pursue some other things. It was just fine. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, but there was no good way of doing it. But I did that for a few years until it became a problem. It was like the Gorge was making less money, and it was kind of about the same for me. I was making a lot of money, actually, having two things, but I was working constantly. I was
I bet.
So shit hit the fan one night, and I was told to choose between the two of them by some members of the band. I was like, well, that's easy. See you later. I mean, why wouldn't I want to be my own boss instead of sharing it with 5 other people? I mean, and having every decision, like bands that are democracies it's like Congress, man. It's like, it's so hard to get consensus, and it really isn't. It gets really old after a while when you just to go. I mean, you think the average family trying to decide what to go eat. That was like every decision in the band was like that, and there was always one person who wasn't happy with what everybody else wanted to do. So it was a tough thing, and we had a good long run, and it just felt like it was over, and it was an easy decision to make because everybody wants to be their own boss. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, why? Yeah, that seems like an easy choice.
It was easy, yeah. So,
it's a funny, funny world, a small world, basically. Like, I actually first heard about you from Max Johnston. I briefly, you sort of hung out with them for a while in Dallas when I moved back from Spain, and I think it was 2012-ish, somewhere around that time. And I was recording with Eric Jarvis. And we were doing some music together. It's called the New Bernardo. Anyway, we were doing that, and so we were just kind of hanging out because Eric was recording Max's album at the time. So I just would hang out. I'd just be there and listen to them play guitar and hang. I wouldn't. I'm a horrible guitarist, to be honest. You don't want me. You don't even want me singing. I don't even know what I was doing there, to be honest with you. But so we're just hanging out, and dude, Max always had the greatest things to say about you, man, and that experience. And I from that moment on, and Eric too, I always wanted to meet you, and I always wanted to make that happen. But coincidentally, Max actually recorded part of that album at my house. Eric,
oh wow!
Yeah, Eric used one of my bedrooms. He was recording our stuff, and then he said, "Hey, Max, I got some time. Why don't you come in here? We'll record some stuff for your stuff." And they actually threw me on some backing vocals for one of the songs, like Rolling River or something. I gotta feel bad. I don't remember the name of the song, but
that's a cool record, though.
It was a great record. I didn't know Max. I didn't know anything about him. I still don't. He's an enigma to me. But Yeah, it was so great. I mean, I was just so really in love with some of his music, to be honest with you. I was like,
Oh,
damn,
yeah.
this is,
He's a great songwriter. He's got a
yeah,
really unique voice, and he's a great player.
he's a great player. He played fiddle on a couple of our songs, actually, for the New Bernardo. It's just, it's amazing. I mean, I said, I remember looking at him thinking, you just played that right now? You just came up with that? You just made that up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
get
yeah.
the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck. I was mad. I was
Yeah,
angry, right? Like, fuck you. Fuck you. This is not fair. Like, that's some bullshit. Like, but just so proud of him. And he's such a humble guy, to be honest with you. And, yeah. So, anyway, that's my small connection
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's great. I'm
to things.
because I love Max. And,
Yeah, that's so, you got Shinyribs. You're rocking with Shinyribs now, man. I've been reading a lot of cool stuff about you guys. Y'all are just, dude, you've been, you've really put together something that a lot of bands and musicians would be super jealous of, man.
Oh, I know. It's a dream band for me. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
dream. It's a great band. Great people, everybody. And
What's the next album you got coming out? I know you guys did one, right? 2019?
yeah, I put one out last summer, actually.
Have you been recording any songs during this pandemic?
Oh, yeah, I'm recording a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
I was just working on one. And this is a funny one called, it's just kind of a funny song, tongue-in-cheek, but musically it's fun. It's called All Gladys, No Pips. And you're all Gladys, no pips.
Dude, that's a great title.
It is, and I go into a little bit of Midnight Train to Georgia in the middle of it, so it's just kind of a fun little song. But
damn,
just the rhymes were so funny.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah,
I've been recording a lot. I've got a lot of different kind of stuff. So what I've been into, really before the pandemic, even from that record we put out last summer, there were 2 songs on it that there was a lot of horn parts needed to be written, and horn parts take a while and to write. So I was running out of time. The meter was running. I was spending a lot of money on that record, and and I still had 2 songs that needed horn arrangements. So I called my friend Steve Berlin from Los Lobos, and I said, "Dude, could you do a couple of horn arrangements for me?" He said, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem." So I sent him.
Wow.
And he sent back. The way he did it, he had a little MIDI keyboard with horn sounds on it, and so he just played it.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't write it out; he just played it, and which was great. And I just gave that to the horn guys, and they charted it out, wrote it all out, and it was great. And then I realized, shit, I should learn how to fucking do that. I mean, if I could play keyboard, so I'll just get a MIDI keyboard. And so I got into Logic Pro, because Logic Pro has all of these sounds built into it.
Yeah.
It's basically the pro version of GarageBand, I guess.
So that's what you use for all Shinyribs music?
Yeah, well, yeah, these days I got into it and got a MIDI keyboard. And so, I've been playing around, I started writing horn parts, but then now I've got into all kind of like loops and like bizarro stuff. And I have a friend who's he's kind of a weirdo friend of mine. He was the Gourds old manager, actually, Mike Stewart.
I like how you say that. He's kind of a weirdo, but
He's got a weird brain. I love his brain. He's one of those.
I love that. Yeah.
Been friends with him because he's got this bizarro brain, and
I got lots of friends like that. In fact, I think I'm that friend to other people.
Yeah. But Mike's been doing remixes of this stuff because it's all mostly digital, so he can take it apart and put it together and remix it and twist it into all kinds of perverse, weird things. And so that's what we're doing mostly, is I'm sending him mixes and or recording sessions, and he remixes them. And so I have a ton of stuff like, and I don't know if you heard that song "Stay Home" that I did, that came out right when everybody. It was a little song that I put out.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I did hear that.
I wrote it as a kind of PSA. I was like trying to get the musical message across.
Yeah.
I was like, that's one thing I could do. I could write a song, that might inspire people to stay home. You know?
Yes. Dude, I had an idea. I actually sent an email to Bob Schneider right when the pandemic happened. I said, Bob, I have a great idea for a song to get. I said, write a song called "We Are Texas," like "We Are the World," and get all the Austin musicians, because everybody can pull them all together and let's get a song going. He didn't respond. Okay. No, hey, no problem, Bob. I mean, look, we're not best friends or anything. He's come on the podcast a couple times, right? So I thought, let me just quick little message. You never know,
I haven't heard what's going on. I'm sure he's laying low like everybody else.
He's doing live streaming and like people. Yeah. He's doing like Monday nights because he had that Saxon Pub thing, right? So that's gone. So yeah, he does live streaming on Mondays and I think Friday night too. Like he's doing a couple nights.
Cool.
A week, yeah.
He's a super productive guy, so
he's sort of like you, right? DIY.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's his own guy. He's done it all himself. Pretty impressive guy. He's got a lot of hustle too. So, mad respect for Bob. But so I put that song out. I did that I played all the parts with the MIDI and everything, and
wow.
Which was fun. I mean, I thought it'd be a cool thing. It's like, I'm at home and this is what I'm going to make music like this. So
that's awesome, man. No, people appreciate it, dude. I mean, of course, that's what we need people like yourself to do, to be honest with you, not to put you on the spot or anything, but you have a voice, right? And people listen to you. So yeah.
Right. That's what I do. So, and I've been sort of helping the band come along. The band's been learning how to record at home themselves. I think every musician should learn how to work a digital audio workstation, some kind of home recording. Every musician should have a multi-track home recording because the technology is cheap, it's there, and it's really an invaluable tool for
you're right.
Music creator. It's like an instrument unto itself. So, and the kind of perspective you get recording multi-track parts and arranging parts, it's just, it makes you a better songwriter, I think, and a better performer, a better player, because you're so focused on parts and arrangements, and that's just an invaluable tool, I think. And I've encouraged a lot of young musicians. That's exactly what they should be doing. If you got nothing to do, learn how to record yourself in your home, and then you can trade files. Like the musicians who do know how to do it, we trade files, we play on each other's stuff, we sing on each other's stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
And if they know how to do it, I'll text people. I was like, so do you record? You know how to do that? And if they say yes, I'm like, well, let me send you a track and you can put a part on it, and they'll send it back to me. And that's kind of exciting,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I've been doing that mostly with my band, trying to get them all up to snuff, because some of them are complete Luddites. They just they can barely get ice out of an ice pack.
They can barely get wet in the rain, right? Like
that's right. But they're all trying hard, and they all have, all but one has been able to send me tracks. So that's pretty good. I got most of the band on some tracks, and that's pretty good.
If I was that one guy, I'd be like, God damn it, I better get on YouTube right now, pull some shit up, baby. We're going to Target. We're getting some shit.
Right, we're gonna get some shit.
We're getting some shit right now. Okay. Get your mask on, get the sanitizer.
I know.
Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, because it might be this way for a while for life.
Yeah. Do you think that's gonna, you just bringing this up just gets my mind going? Like, do you think, I got two-part questions. So one, do you think you'll record part of your new album like this? And two, do you think this will be a future thing? Right? Like, fuck it. Why are we even getting to get? I can use this bassist up in Chicago and get this guy. Right? Like, it's really cool.
It is cool. I mean, there's nothing like playing
in room, right? Yeah, of course.
But that is its own thing. And so I know some of the songs I write, I might record them this way, and I listen to it, I'm like, it's cool, but I'm like, we'll have to learn this one, record it live, because it has to be that way. Certain styles of songs.
Sure. Maybe it just gives you like scratch tracks or things to sort of just play with and tinker with, right? Like,
I'm thinking it's a great way to learn songs, you're at home and a bass player, you're putting a bass part, and you learn the song, you know it then, and it's there forever. And so whether you release that or not, because some of the sounds they're getting, they're all over the map. I don't know if they're releasable. Maybe they are, but my idea too is like, I don't know if I'm going to do another traditional album like the way I've always done it, like go into a studio and create, record a group of songs and put it out. Like, to me, I think I'm going to like just keep recording and making lots of music, and I'll cull from that perhaps and put things together that belong together, conceptually, maybe, and put it out maybe as an album. But I don't know. Some of it will just be digital only. Some of it will be released as singles. Some of it will be, I just don't know. I think I'm just sort of that last record I did. It really felt, the whole process felt really old and antiquated. And
I see.
This doesn't make sense to me anymore, the way we used to do it, and it's ingrained in my head.
Sure. So just the typical, right? Go into a studio, lay down the tracks all together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really rare. Actually, there's not a lot of people doing that. I mean, there's some retro soul bands who do it, but for like a lot of young music creators, they're doing everything in the box. It's all, and I think. I mean, I understand it, and it's pretty great, I mean,
the technology's there, right? You can have it at your home and do it yourself.
Yeah. Now, I mean, aesthetically, it's still digital and it's sort of one-dimensional. It all is kind of a lot of new music you hear on the radios or on streaming or wherever. If it's a new record, I always listen to it with those ears. And a lot of stuff, the digital stuff, it sounds one-dimensional to me.
Sure.
Because all the sounds are the same. They all come from the same source. So there are certain things aesthetically, like I like to hear room sounds. And you can do artificial room sounds.
Yeah.
You can fool your ears a little bit, but I can still tell that it's still that glossy, flat, digital.
Well, plus there's also that energy of playing next to somebody.
Right. And like the air, the space around you is moving. So, and you can't really capture that with digital effects, But
I think, like you said, it's just a matter of combining the two, right? It's not really one or the other. It's just
I'm combining the two, and I think that's kind of hopefully what's going on in a lot of home studios these days. Is a lot of for me, my world is roots music. I'm an American music guy, and I mine those veins, the elements of American music, so I want to see other roots musicians using this technology, because I think that's going to be interesting to have, weird loops, but with somebody playing a banjo over them. I've always thought that was where we were going. And you see, you think about Old Town Road.
Yeah.
That's kind of gives you a little picture of what it might be like where we're going, and I think it's interesting. It's very interesting. So hopefully that's what will happen. I mean, but then the problem too is like, what I think a good thing about it that musicians should do it themselves is like when you hire super professional engineers who know how to do everything, a lot of times it comes out cookie cutter because they're so good at their job and they want to make it as good as possible. And I appreciate that, but there's something about the dumbing down of the creative process. That's why I try and learn new things, because it dumbs me down and it makes me think, I think in a more interesting way when I'm trying to understand or I'm trying to do something and maybe a mistake happens and something else, it becomes something else.
It's a character, right? It just gives it character.
It does give it character. It makes it interesting. It makes it unique to that artist who wrote it. So that's what's interesting to me with most recorded music and even live music. I don't want to hear the most pristine, perfect thing I can hear. I want to hear something interesting.
Yeah.
That's authentic, or at least has the feel or the sound of authenticity,
What's on your what's on your streaming playlist right now? Let's say, like, what are you listening to right now?
And I am sharing a lot of playlists with people. There's one a buddy of mine from Virginia and me are doing, um, but it's all over the map. There's like uh, I know there's like Pavement, but there's also Cliff Edwards, who's like he was the voice of Jiminy Cricket. He's a ukulele player, Ukulele Ike. If you want to look him up, he's
Oh, wow.
one of my favorites. Glorietta, do you know Glorietta?
Uh-uh.
It was like that. They were like I think it's David Ramirez and
Glorietta.
kind of an all-star band from Austin. They're really great. I turned her on to Donny Hathaway. She'd never heard Donny Hathaway. Have you ever heard that live version of "Jealous Guy" by Donny Hathaway?
Uh-uh.
I mean, do yourself a favor and listen to that.
Okay, I will, yeah.
Donny Hathaway, "Jealous Guy." It's amazing.
Wow. Okay.
You know, but there's Tom Waits, there's typical stuff, Meters and James Brown, funk stuff. But
Well, when do you like throwing on music? Do you like music on all the time at your house as a songwriter?
I do like music all the time. I can't listen to music all the time because my family are just not into it. They're just it's kind of quiet. My house is very quiet. There's not a lot of noise. It's kind of a studious environment. My wife and my kids, which is fine. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
But so sometimes I'm in the middle of the house. They're all in their respective places, but they can hear me. And like I'd like to be playing the radio. I love listening to radio. Like WWOZ in New Orleans or KPFT in Houston. I have a buddy who has a show on there every Monday. I like to listen to his show. It's a blues show. I love stuff like that. So I can't always listen to it, but I have my turntable out here at my studio, so I listen to a lot of music out here on the turntable.
Yeah.
And streaming, I ride my bike and listen to playlists. I have tons of playlists. Mostly I use Spotify. I just like their playlist interface and everything. I like the way it's set up, and it's really user friendly. I think it's better than Apple Music for me.
Yeah, me too. I absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I have subscriptions to all of the streaming services because I stream everywhere, and so I like to be able to make sure it's all there.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
I'm curious, like how a musician, what they would do, right? Like, what are they?
Yeah. So, but I do think Spotify has, they had a head start on everybody, and I just like the way they do things. I love the way you can share the playlist. You can do that with Apple, but there doesn't seem to be as much of it going on.
No, and look, I'm an Apple guy, right? I got an Apple Watch, I got an Apple iPhone, I got a iPad, I got a MacBook. Right. But there's like, I can't get that Apple Music thing going. Like, it doesn't work as well as Spotify, especially because I have Alexa in my house. I have the little Echo things like through my house, so it works really well with Amazon Music.
Right, of course.
And I love Amazon. Honestly, it's fine.
Amazon Music is great. Yeah.
It just picks up. So I don't actually have playlists. I just say play, blues or play Latin music. That's what I listen to a lot. Just Latin music. I just want to hear rhythm, not even lyrics, really. I just like rhythm. I actually don't listen to a lot of music at my house, to be honest with you. I like silence or just the sound of the world, baby. That's what I'm all about. Just the birds chirping.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm weird that way. I like when I drive, I don't even listen to music. Is that weird? Does that make me a psychopath? Somebody told me that one time. You're a psychopath. I was like, what? I just like the sound of the, like, fuck. I don't know.
No, I think it means you're probably normal.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I like silence too. Sometimes you just gotta have silence,
Yeah, I like my thoughts. I think that I like thinking. So if I have music on, I can't. Me too. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But I do like throwing on some music as well. Just whatever I'm in the mood for. Like if I'm cooking, definitely like some music. Get some.
What about like podcasts and like
podcasts? I do listen to a lot, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I'm a podcaster. So yeah, I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and I actually watch a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'll throw it. Not to say I'm necessarily sitting in front watching it the whole time, but it'll just be in the background. And I'm
Right.
walking around, but it's, the Joe Rogan experience is on the TV. And I can see them, but I'm listening to it at the same time,
Yeah.
kind of do both. Because it's not like there's a lot of action in the podcast. They're literally just talking. But for some reason, I like to see the person and them speaking. And I don't know. I like it. Not all podcasts, but some of them I do watch.
Yeah. Well, how many people are watching Joe Rogan's podcast, do you think? Is it
Oh my, millions, bro. He's got, I mean, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 million
Really?
an episode.
It's amazing.
That's that got crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
Why do you think that is about him?
I think he, first of all, he's been doing it a long time. So I think people forget about that. Like he just like jumped into it. I think he had a little something going on the side, right? So he did Fear Factor. He had the UFC thing going. And really, he just stuck with it. He was just consistent. And he wasn't afraid to just throw it on his computer at his house with the worst lighting and the worst, right? Everything was so bad. And he just went through that period. And because he went through that period, he's able to build a fan base and start getting people. And it's really when he started expanding his guests and started having on, a scientist and a professor and that really just changed everything because.
Does he hold his own pretty well with academics?
Yeah, man, he does a good job. I mean, he's just an average Joe, no pun intended. But yeah, he does a really good job, man. I think he's just a good listener. That's what I like about him. He's willing to sort of listen to it. Does it sound logical, rational? And regardless of what his previous beliefs were, and I pride myself on being that way myself. I'll take each situation as it comes. I don't want to just because of something down the line that this is what it is. And, I'm willing to listen and change my mind. Actually, if it presented with new evidence, I will change my mind. I'm not stuck on anything. But that's why I think is success, right? Is just, but who knows at the end of the day?
Yeah. It's interesting though. Yeah. He definitely seems to be one of the big ones, I don't know many podcasts. I have podcasts I listen to, but I don't know, they're not popular or anything. And I just I don't really know like how to find podcasts that I want to listen to. I just sort of
It's hard. Yeah, you're right. There's
no like easy way to know that. That's why you ask people what they listen to. But
sure.
And a lot of people ask me, and I tell them, a lot of podcasts I try out, I just don't dig them. Like some of them are. So
me too. Look, I think that about my own sometimes. I'm not joking. Like, look, it happens. Really, it's just about. I don't know what it's about. I just keep doing it. Look, I keep showing up every time, and people keep listening. So I just don't think. I don't overthink it.
Yeah, just don't overthink it. I think that's basically the secret. Just keep doing it, and you create this body of work over time that really is going to be a great archive of knowledge and of history, and pop culture and all these different things you talk about from this era.
That's a good way to look at it. It's
going to be a great thing. It's going to be probably used years and years, maybe a century from now. They might go back and look at some podcasts and what they were talking about.
100%. I 100% agree with that.
I think.
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, I'll be honest. I never really thought about it that way. That's great. Podcasts are, look, it's a new thing, even though it's been around a while, still new in terms of just how it's run. And so many people are trying to get their hands in, and that stretches it out from, moving forward quicker because everything sort of stalls out because everyone's trying to do this and that. Nobody knows what to do. There's all kinds of platforms. There's all kinds of, just like you said, it's really hard to find a podcast that you're into. And I feel the same way. I do what you do. What are you listening to? Right. I just find and I sort of go that way. And I know there's a ton of podcasts out there that I probably would like that I don't even know how to get in front of.
Yeah.
And I struggle with the same thing with this pod. We struggle here behind the scenes with this podcast. Like, okay, well, how are we going to get out there and how are we going to push? And we got game plans, we're trying, we're pushing, we're launching, we're we're really just, it comes down to guests. Recently we started reaching out to a lot more high profile guests, and it's working, man. I just interviewed Chris Harrison from The Bachelor yesterday.
Wow, that's cool.
Like I'm research. We got Dustin Lance Black coming on. He's the Oscar winner that wrote Milk. We got Mark Henry coming on tomorrow. He's a 2-time Olympian strongman in the WWE.
Wow.
Yeah, man, we got some crazy. Drew Brees agreed to come on like in August.
Awesome.
Gosh, I can't even think of all these cool people that are. We're trying to make. Look, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna call it by the end of 2020. The Lone Star Plate will be the biggest and best podcast out of Texas.
All right.
That's it, baby. That's it. It's my goal. You know what I mean? I got the goal. We're gonna do it. I mean, it's happening.
I'm there.
So I'm really excited. Having people like you on, man, is what makes this podcast, push forward. That is the truth.
Right. That's killer, man.
So
I hope you dominate the world.
We're gonna try, man. Look, this is what I do. You do music. This is what I hold the microphone the same way, but different things come out. It's basically the same, almost the same. No, not even close, dude. You actually have a talent. I just talk. It's like, this is such bullshit.
Talk is a talent.
I do some cooking on the side too. I'm doing some recipe videos for the site too. So
nice.
You'll start seeing those online.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Kevin, look, man, I'm going to have you on again because we didn't even get into food, dude.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that, dude. We could have just talked forever. I mean, I could have just kept talking to you, man. It's like everything I heard about you was true.
Okay, good.
Everything, yeah.
I'm glad it was positive stuff.
well, I didn't say that. No, I'm joking. No, I'm kidding. No, man, absolutely.
I love to talk food, man. I do love food. And,
yes, we'll have to get you on again, man. We'll do in-person interview next time.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll get you in the studio because usually what we do is order food and we eat while we do the podcast. It's a lot of fun.
I like it.
Yeah. You have your best conversations over a meal, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. All the, late night you're at IHOP with your buddies till 3 a.m. or Waffle House or whatever. Like, yeah, man, do you think aliens exist, man? Whatever the conversation is. But anyway, man, look, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Kevin.
Yeah, brother.
And yeah, man, I wish the best to you and your family during this time. And
appreciate it.
And again, thank you so much. And we'll talk soon, brother. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
All right, boss. Be good.
Bye.
Peace. All right. I really hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I did. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email the podcast at patrick@texasrealfood.com. And don't forget, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the different places you can get podcasts. You'll find us on there, or you can just go to our website, go to thelonestarplate.com, and you can find everything you need there, all the episodes. And you can check us out on YouTube if you want to watch it. We video these, on a little webcam here and do the Zoom stuff, and so if you feel like doing it that way, go to the Texas Real Food YouTube channel, and you can find it there. Make sure to follow Texas Real Food as well on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe. And if you are so inclined, please leave us a review anywhere you can. Follow us on Spotify or leave a review on Apple Podcast. That would really help us out as well. So if you support, what we're trying to do here. So thanks again for listening. Really do appreciate it. Without you guys, what's the point of doing this? So if you have any suggestions on how we can make the show better, please let us know. All right. Thanks again. Be safe out there. Wash your hands.